right, we're live. The Parts live show. It's back. And I have a co-host, Russell Hill, with me. Russell, welcome, and thanks for being my co-host.
Oh, thank you for having me, Kaylee.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. We get to attack Robert with all of our questions.
That's all good.
And Robert, thanks for being the first guest back on the live show. So real quick, I wanted to I introduced everyone and then just make sure everyone knows that the show is back. So we're going to be doing this every Wednesday at 3 o'clock Pacific time. And I have my co-host Russell for this month of September. So that's really exciting. And exclusive sponsor, Fixed Ops Marketing. Thank you, Fixed Ops Marketing. Okay, so let's get started with what we're going to talk about today. And that's really just the trends of fixed operations, where we started at the beginning of the year and where we're at now. So let's start with Robert. What were your goals as you're a service manager, correct? Or are you fixed ops?
So I oversee the service department where I'm at directly. Come from a fixed ops background. I ran fixed operations at my previous job before I came here. So.
Yes. Oh, yeah. And where are you at?
No problem. So I'm currently in Stanton, Virginia, which is in the inland area, so more western part of Virginia. And we're at CMA Valley. I'm at the Chrysler Dodge Jeep store, but CMA is all throughout Virginia and West Virginia, 23 stores in that market group. So we're doing pretty well, pretty decent sized group that we're with.
Yeah, there you guys are. So what were your goals as a service manager at the beginning of the year, and where are you at now? How has things shifted for you? And let's go with that first.
So for us, our first couple quarters that we've been going through, everything was focused on growth. We took over a shop a little over a year ago that was in transition, only had about 5 or 6 technicians. So our big aspect in a brand new facility, because we got the franchise for CDJR about 7 years ago. And part of that situation was building a new building. So we built a new building. We have this beautiful facility. We have all these bays, and we didn't have people working in them. So our biggest focus over the 18 months has really just been driving to get everything up, running, and getting technicians on board that are not only willing and capable, but want to grow with the company and have a good career path for them. So we have everything from entry level apprentices filled in now. We got about 13 techs in our current shop. We got a little over 250 technicians throughout the whole entire company. As we met through our manager group meetings for fixed operations, a lot of the focus that we've been on has just been on growth, technology, and the biggest focus that we have going into our final quarter here is going to be getting into video and electric multi-points across the board through the whole auto group. So
it's a big deal, isn't it, Robert?
It is. It's definitely a game changer. It's funny because we're in the meeting, we're discussing it, and Liza's dad's there, and he's telling everybody or Liza's telling the story about how he got a repair done on his air conditioning and got a video multi-point on his AC system and a multi-point check and this big thorough checkout. And I'm like, we're in automotive and we're still having the struggle of getting this done, and we're still not where we need to be. And there's so many other facets that are doing it well above and beyond what we're at. So
there's a lot of moving pieces there. It's amazing though. Everybody loves videos. Over 80% of all consumer consumption is video. Everybody just, would rather watch a short little video and get educated that way. Anyway, I take for granted that people know what CMA is or who Liza Borges is. But they don't, do they? It's quite a unique group, isn't it?
We are. It's one of, I think we're only 2 auto groups in the nation that are ESOP, which is employee stock options. So every employee is purchased into the company. We all own, collectively, the employees own about 26% of the company. The rest of it is out through the actual corporate side of the company, I guess you could say, or the actual physical business, the hard part of the business. So, but yeah, we're all owners. We all get. There's nothing we do to get it other than working there. So based on that, the hours you put in, you get a nice little change kind of given to you every year. This past year, we definitely had a large growth. I think we're about. The average that you try to see is about a 7% increase over 7 years. And I think we had roughly the last 2-3 years, we've been in the double digit 15 to 20% growth.
Amazing.
Just between the acquisitions, the growth of the company, and the overall volume of the sales, service, and parts departments and what we're doing. So
That's great.
So growth has been a big deal for you guys, and I think you're able to achieve that culture by doing what you're talking about as like stock and getting the buy-in of everyone to be part of the company and the growth.
Yeah. And as Russell, we were talking before we got on here, we have CMA Day every Wednesday, which is, it's a funny post, but we try to, break the internet with it. And it's a weekly call that goes through the first week of the month. First Wednesday of the month is all staff. The second Wednesday is leadership. And the third Wednesday is all general manager, executive managers and whatnot. So we go through 3 different week cycles of the Wednesdays every week in training and in-depth growth for how, as a company, we can grow, how leaders we can grow, and then how general managers we can kind of elaborate and take that and continue it going across all the
I take for granted sometimes that everybody knows who we are, in this business, because I see you guys like everywhere, and I'm up early and I'm in all these different Zoom calls, and, you with Ted and the round table, to the mastermind, to Kaylee and the parts girl, and SDL on Sunday mornings. Is like everywhere I go, there's Robert. But this is the first time we really spent, where there wasn't 50 people. There's just like 3 of us. But anyway, it's a real pleasure interacting with you and watch you grow, and the things that you're accomplishing and what you're willing to. It's almost like I said this the other day. People that focus on the prize are almost always willing to pay the price, but people that focus on the prize almost never get the prize, because they're focusing on the price that it takes to actually do it. They can't see the forest through the trees. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I found myself when we moved down here, one of the biggest things I found was working in this industry, and we can probably all attest to it, is you found yourself so drowned out in. There was work life and then there was home life, and there was very little home life compared to work life, because the hours required in retail are quite strenuous. So I was blessed when I met my wife, because she did hair growing as we got together. So she was in the same retail kind of aspect of what I was working with. I was just working morning, she was working evening. So we've had it as adaptive, and we've always kind of come together on it. But I never took the time back for myself to say, I need to grow for myself. I need to do for myself. I need to actually get involved with me, because when I wasn't here, I tried so hard to give back to everybody else that I never took my time. So this past 12 months, I definitely focused on the fact that, like you said, Russell, just really diving in and seeing that if I want to continue to grow and move and make a difference in what I'm doing, I got to join these groups. I got to be part of different things. I got to learn from other people. I got to be around smarter people and not be the smartest person in the room. And I really kind of found myself a little everywhere. And it's quite amazing, just the stuff we pick up on. Everything from a Sunday morning call to being on a round table to just interacting here, just the things that'll kind of click and come together and really push things. So.
Yeah, you've had a lot of growth personally, I think, this year. And I love how you share that on social media, because I think a lot of us are very scared sometimes to share just our personal stuff, experiences. And I think that's how we've all really been able to connect through social media, is sharing all of everything that we are going through.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you definitely put it out there. So I think a lot of fixed ops people, we need to be more like you, Robert.
Yeah, I mean, for that, just get out there. Russell's all over the place. He's got his show and everything that he does as well. And I just say, just get out there and be in the front of people. It's amazing the doors and things that have kind of opened from that, and in doing nothing more than just a simple post every day saying, hey, we're open, come on in. And the realization is it's not a lot. It doesn't take much. And it's just getting out of that comfort zone of realizing you're putting yourself out there.
Boom. Getting out of that comfort zone, baby.
Just go do it. Yeah. Just go do it. It's a lot of fun. And I enjoy it. And, I get hit up different ways, and it's funny because, fixed operations is a little harder. I could see in the sales world, you can kind of work some national aspects of it, but what can I do in fixed operations to really drive my business was really difficult. So I found like different ways to join local business groups and different customer bases and stuff like that were local to me. So that way I could drive my focus for the people that were there, as well as grow my exposure nationally but I'm also giving my customers that are locally and businesses that are locally the advantage of knowing that when they need tires, when they need service, when they need anything automotive, they're going to remember seeing me every single day. And that's the goal.
I remember meeting Kaylee through Charity, or she's our chief marketing officer, and the early collaboration. This was back when the Zoom stuff was like really new, and people were still wearing masks and everything else. And watching you, watching Kaylee, and a bunch of people that all three of us interact with, it's amazing because we're all hungry. We want to go to the next level. And like Kaylee mentioned a minute ago, which I thought was great, I've noticed, and read some of her posts, and she's been vulnerable, like a lot of people have. Like, hey, this is who I am, but I don't have any regrets. I am who I am. I'm today who I am because of these things that I've gone through. And to share that with other people that, hey, we're all human. We're all on this journey together, but every decision we make involves people around us, our family, our social, our business, our church, and other types of functions and community involvement that we're in. Every decision we make involves people around us. And and we're all people. We all, we're all people. I know I got off track.
It's all good.
That's okay. We're way off track, but it looks like we have some listeners or watchers or whatever they're called.
Where are they at? I don't see them.
I see two, but I feel like it's delayed. And then Roger Gutierrez, he says hi. He's part of, he's in SEL, right? A lot.
Is.
Yeah. Larry said hi. Charity's here. Yeah. So there's a lot. Okay. So so we talked about, you mentioned your guys' focus for the end of the year and just kind of probably going into the next year is going to be video and electric. And I wanted to talk about that a little bit because that's a big deal. I think a lot of things that we're talking about, especially when we talk about AI, is really just the process of utilizing these tools. It's not the tools themselves, it's the process of like implementing them and actually using them. I think that's what I want to talk about as far as like, I don't know, big stops and everything.
It's definitely one of the toughest situations. You have a class of people that are very nuts and bolts, and that I'm talking everything in fixed operations. We look at things differently. It's not a situation that's that way. So doing things like that is, go back to that, just really out of your comfort zone of what's normal and what a standard operation
Absolutely.
is. Our goal is to fix the vehicle, get it back on the road, get the customer back where they need to, and then to watch this whole cycle flip really, really kind of grow over the last probably 15, 18 months or so has definitely changed. It's more than just fixing the car now. So now we're going in this whole transition of customer care over everything else. So now you're focusing on the customer care situation, the whole write-up process and what's involved in that, the customer's first touch and last touch. And then how do you emphasize the center of that, where the technicians, the parts department, and the advisors are working with the daily day-to-day stuff of the vehicle, and really kind of explode that to get the customer to a different level of, I've never experienced that. And that's where I think the video really comes in, because like Russell said, it really makes you a vulnerable person at that time, because there's no secrets. There's no hidden agendas. If you need brakes, you need brakes. You need filter, you need a filter. You need an alignment, you need an alignment. When you can show that stuff to a customer that's not sitting there or not physically in the shop, it's a complete game changer. And it's definitely just going to take some time and training and transitioning. Talk for that has been all over the place on how and what you do to get people there. And dealing with technicians, obviously everything's related to time. So it's a matter of showing them what it's going to do for them, how you're going to take care of them during that training process, or even longevity through that, and what that's going to do to affect their bottom line of, putting more hours on the table for themselves and generating more purchases from the consumer that, again, they're trusting you. I mean, the whole repeat and referral business is based on trust and based on a relationship. So if you don't have those two, it makes it a little harder. When you have the video part of it, it definitely kind of takes that vulnerability away and puts it all out on the table and makes it real simple at that point in time. So I think training wise, it's just that we're going to find ourselves at a point where we don't have a choice, similar to probably how we did the multi-point to begin with. And I was in the industry when that started. I was in the early 2000s when MPIs started getting released and companies started popping up left and right. And luckily I was tech savvy myself, but it didn't mean that everybody we worked with was the same way. So
No.
I think from a platform statement, it's just going to take you to evaluate every employee you have, which ones are going to do it well, which ones are going to champion it, and really just kind of getting some people on board in the shop, and then allow them to help train the ones that are having the difficult time, or figure out a way where you can make it work, where maybe somebody is the lead person who does that in your shop. That might be what works in somebody's shop. You might just have to kind of get to a point where you have almost like a body shop. You have an estimator who's doing the estimates and doing the videos and pushing them over, and the advisors are following up and doing the consultations with the customers from there, and really kind of doing some different things. But I think it's hard to put it into a black and white situation. It's going to be a true case by case with each individual technician, and what's going to be the best kind of growth for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you have anything to ask or add? I have some thoughts, Russell, but I want to make sure you get a chance to talk.
Well, I got to be really careful here. So before we all went live, the three of us were talking about some of the things we were going to talk about, from the beginning of the year till now, heading into the last quarter of the year. Are we focusing on the same things, or have things shifted? Well, AI and EV obviously is more of a focal point now than even though it was at the beginning of the year. There's a lot of challenges. That's a moving target. But we were talking about transparency, fix it right first time, technicians, advisors, technology, all those things, leadership, management styles, etc. Are those still the same things? Are we talking about the same things in this last quarter as we head into it, as we were the first? What are your thoughts on that?
I think we got some different goals that are set there, but I think the ultimate underlining are still kind of staying the same. We're still looking at the leadership. We're still looking at the potentials of what the AI is going to do to the industry. Obviously following different automakers and what their plans are, if they're going to stay with EV completely, if it's going to go back to hybrid. There's so many conversations, how the infrastructure is going to play into effect. So we have different things. And now I'm at one of the fortunate companies that's sitting on a UAW potential strike situation. So as a big three situation, while we have our business focus, now we have a corporate focus that we got to look at and say, where's this going to play into what we're doing as well? So I think we are. I mean, AI has been huge. It's all over the place. It's definitely has its place, and it's going to keep incorporating more and more into what it's doing. I think it's going to become a bigger asset tool than we think it will be for a lot of people, just in the abilities and the quick research that it does, even though it's kind of limited. And I know you're real strong in that area, Russell, but just in the little bit that I've seen and come across it, it's definitely going to be a focal point for it. But I think the core group of what we're doing still kind of stays the same for Q4. We're still looking at some of the same things that we're closing out, and just trying to get them finalized and start Q1 in 2024 with a whole new set of goals in mind, and already kind of starting to implement kind of how we're going to transition from where we're finishing right into those.
Right on. I love it.
It's very exciting stuff. And now I lost my thoughts of, I was going to say back to the video. The video is like, it has, because we were just talking about how like the different industry showed you, your AC or your dad's AC. And I feel like it's got to help sell the jobs, because normally consumers don't know what certain things are in their car. So if you can show them, it'll really help sell the jobs. But I think you're right in the fact that each tech or each person is going to adopt it differently, and like really understanding that it's not just like, because I think that's the thing with AI too, is like we think it's just going to solve the problems and we just put it in there and it's like it's going to work. No, we have to use it. We have to like figure out who's going to use it the most and really work on continuously like evolving with it. Right. I think that's my point, is working to make it better.
Finding a champion who can really kind of head it up is the key there. And sometimes you just got to do the right probing questions and find out who's going to be there, because you're going to need an advisor who wants to do it and can show everybody how to do it. and then you need a technician who's going to do it, and then you need the parts guy who's going to do it. So or parts lady, I apologize, across the board. But
get it right, Robert.
Yeah, the staff needs to be on board, because if you fight it from the gate and then you don't have the support for management, you always look at the trickle down effect of what it does. And if everybody makes it feel like, oh, we just have to do it, it's never going to get done right. But if there's excitement about it and you can get people to champion it and show what those closing rates are, because the numbers are well above what you would think they are. And I think it's an 80% closing ratio in comparison to standard MPI, or even just regular, phone, text, regular conversations with customers. So when you look at what that's going to do to it, it's definitely going to increase that ability for it. And realistically, if you're looking to grow, you're looking to get your, fixed absorption where it needs to be. That's part of what you need to be doing. You need to be evaluating every vehicle that comes in the shop, not only the same way, but continuously, not just in small pieces. So if it's got 500 miles, or it's got 5,000 miles, or it's got 50,000 miles, you got to have the same process in place across the board for that. And definitely just getting a champion, so you have those people to help you, is going to be key. So that way it doesn't fall just back on. We have to do it, so do it.
Yes. And AJ actually just validated some of that, because he just said, the video is awesome, but the process has to be in place in training. So that's exactly what we're talking about. I lost my question. Russell, take it. Save me.
Okay, I'll say, so AI, there's a lot of people that are afraid of it. And unfortunately, we're going to have to do some hand holding. Robert, Kaylee, and a lot of you out there listening, hey, we're reading about it. We're learning as much as we possibly can about it. It's not going away. It's how fast things are moving is incredible. They say that, and it's a supplement. It's not here it's not here to get rid of our jobs. It's here to make us more efficient. And that effect, it's all about, regardless of all things we're talking about, it's all about the client, the customer, the guest, whatever you want to refer to them. It's all about them and their experience. But I read recently that AI, machine learning, natural language processing, all those things that are coming are going to amount to a $17 trillion industry in the next 7 years. So it's big. But there are people that are naysayers, and it's not, they don't intend to be, but they're not learning, they're not reading. We can take anything and make it bad, or we can make it good. And I think technology, where people need to be careful, is technology to accelerate momentum we have is a good thing. To create something that we don't have by thinking technology is going to solve it, it's probably not going to work out. What do you guys think?
I would agree with that. And I think what I was going to say too, as I kind of remembered, was holding the vendors accountable for the solutions. Because I think AI has been around for a long time. We've been utilizing some form of it for a long time. And there's been a lot of promises and like, oh, it'll solve this, it'll solve that. And then people are turned off by it because they are like, well, it didn't solve my problem. So then they give up. But so I think that on the flip side of it is holding the vendors accountable for, their solutions that they're offering, and making sure that you vet what's going to actually work for your store and your situation. So
great point. Yeah. Go ahead, Robert.
No, I was just gonna say I don't disagree at all. It's definitely a partnership across the whole aspect of it. The programs need to help work. You need the support. You need the know-how. It can't just be a plug and play, walk away kind of situation. You definitely need to. There needs to be some hand holding in the beginning, like you said, Russell. It's the only way it's going to get done. And again, I think that's where it comes back to getting the people who are involved with it, really interested in it, and getting them to kind of get on board and help take it and run with it, and really help set yourself up across your departments is going to be key. Everywhere, sales, service, parts, it's going to be very beneficial at the end. So,
yeah, I agree. I think that this can be a tongue twister, and it could be taken wrong, but an opportunity is not an opportunity when everybody thinks it is. They've already missed it. Okay, so it's people like us that are talking about it, absorbing it, trying to understand it, figure out how to use it in our lives. And there's a lot of vendors out there. I'm one. But we're a small circle of people. We really are. Automotive, you think is really huge, but we all know on the inside it's not as big. So if you have something that's smoke screen and mirrors, it's not long before we figured out, and just through word of mouth and as fast as connected as we are with technology today, if you're that person that's selling something that's not effective or doesn't work and you're hanging your hat on it, you're going to get figured out quicker than you ever have before. Right?
100%.
So we're almost to the end of the show, and I wanted to ask Robert if there's anything specifically you've implemented or tried recently that you've just like, this is the best thing ever. It solved this problem for me, or is there anything that you're really excited about?
Yeah, I mean, so shop-wise for me, social media has been big, especially with fixed operations. I don't think we'd spend any real time from the automotive standpoint in social media. There's a big focus on the sales side, obviously promoting vehicles and sales and salespeople in a whole kind of running their own business per se. We've kind of cycled that over to the fact that it's the same in the service world. We're kind of running our own business at the end of the day. It's an entity within itself. So really just jump out there, be open with it, use technology, use everything that's out there. There's no reason you can't. Each market is going to be a little different. Each age group is going to be different. So, look at your target. If it's on Facebook, use Facebook. If it's on Instagram, use Instagram, Snapchat, LinkedIn, really depending on what you do. Because obviously my post on LinkedIn, while they may follow suit with some of my regular posts on Facebook or Instagram and stuff like that, they're definitely going to be different. My TikTok is 100% different. It's definitely built around us getting exposure for the company and building our Jeeps and trucks and stuff like that and doing accessories. Facebook is very much business oriented with personal life and the company in a whole and the staff. Instagram is a little more facaded with the pictures and whatnot. And then LinkedIn is very much business driven, things that we're doing in the business and focus points and growth points and stuff like that. So I think it's just key. Get out there and get involved, use your social media, join those social groups that are out there if you're not involved, and really kind of grow yourself. Russell and Kaylee, you two are prime examples of this. I'm not a traveling service manager. I don't get out to a lot of events. So, we're always in the grind at work at the store. So we don't get out to a lot of the stuff that the GMs or the executive managers or stuff like that get to go to a lot of times. So, my growth and exposure has been huge using social media and finding groups like this and SDL and the Fixed Ops Roundtable, because I'm getting connected with so many different people across the nation, across the world, and really just getting so many different views and then just taking little bits of it and back and trying it and figuring out what works and how to do things differently. And then it's also just built a huge network of people I can reach out to and say, hey, I'm looking to do this. You do it really well. How can you help me? And everybody's been in this world has been so gracious at doing so. And at the drop of a hat, taking a phone call and spending 15, 20 minutes on a call with people, I've never met in person. We've only ever interacted online, never really said a word to each other. And we're having a phone call about how to grow
each other,
Yeah. You're trying to grow a business for my job in my store and not caring about the market share and all that stuff. So it's pretty wild, but now get involved, get out there, use social media, definitely use it. That's what my big kind of takeaway would be from this last year.
Yeah, I would probably say the same thing. It's been a huge way that I've grown personally and professionally. And I think you organized each one, like you said, the purpose for each one is because you can't use them all the same. And I think that's the whole thing with social media is it can be overwhelming. And for me, I was like, okay, I'm just going to focus on LinkedIn and start with that and then branch out to other things. And that's, I think the other thing for people to take away is just try one first and then you'll find your voice and then you'll figure it out and then watch other people and see what they're doing and pick and choose what's going to work for you because, like you said, it creates such an amazing network of people. And then when you go to events, you're like, hey, I know you, but I don't know you.
Yeah.
Very true.
I've never met Robert, and I feel like I know him. Now I met you at NADA, but other than that, hell, Charity worked for. I didn't even meet her for 2 years. We're all online, right? And we met at NADA for the first time. It's like, wow, I feel like I know you. Of course you do. Real quick, one thing you pointed out, which I thought was really critical, Robert, you're everywhere. Kaylee, you're everywhere. But we've learned to adapt to all the different types of social media and what is appropriate for that, and the content that's displayed and how it's different from one platform to another. I think that's really important. They cannot all be used the same. I see people trying to do that. I probably did, but we just figured out. You just, like Robert, get outside your comfort zone. Just try new stuff. Kaylee and all of us are out there. We're experimenting. We're doing things for the first time. The only way you're going to know how to do it is just do it, right? And then surround yourself with people in those circles so you can figure out what they did, right? Make it a little bit easier anyway, right?
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, this was awesome. I love doing the live shows. I mean, there was people here, and it's hard to, because I feel like there's always a delay, but we'll go back through and comment. But thank you guys so much for joining. I'm excited, Russell, for having more conversations and getting more people on the show this month. And that's pretty much it. We're just going to go live and have conversations about industry fixed op, focusing on fixed ops and sharing everyone's experience, because that's what we're here to do. Network and share experiences.
Thank you for having me on, Kaylee.
Thank you both. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Robert.
Bye. Bye.